Hello there! With the return of online tournaments and a network patch releasing Thursday, May 25th, the Strive servers are finally saved.
Oh, let's go! That's class!
And this video will help you prepare for a new season of tourneys, or help you land back on your feet in the tower. Gameplay, commentary, advice. I recently played in a Strive tournament and put together these elements and everything else it had to offer. Hopefully this not-so-subtle reference will cause many viewers to stick around. You want to learn from my mistakes? You can do it! I put everything I experienced in this tourney into one video. Now you just have to watch it. This tournament is known as Aegis, and the prize pool? $100. Now you might be thinking,
you've got a job as a teacher. Why do you need more money?
well, let's just say $100 is more than enough to buy me a copy of Duke Nukem Forever and a few Whoppers. So without further ado, let's roll the tape. To kick off the tournament, I was lucky enough to play against Turtle and Beyond, the Jacko main, on stream, though the footage I'm using here is my own. In round 1, I use an interesting opener, trying to catch Jacko's slide with a counter hit 2H. It was a bit ambitious, but I end up taking the first advantage anyways by stopping Turtle's approach. From there, a jump in nets me some really solid pressure, and I'm able to drain all of Turtle's meter and get them to half health through Chipp damage. But their defense is remarkable, and they challenge their way out of the corner. 2K is something you really have to watch out for, as Jacko players love using that low kick to duck under moves and interrupt delayed pressure. Speaking of delays, though I'm a bit greedy in pop here, I'm still able to block in time. But no meter means no round-winning follow-up for me, and Turtle stops my next approach with a defense command. That's when they finally get an opening of their own, and though I YRC, they ruthlessly call out my proceeding bite with a flurry of jabs. Round 2 starts, Turtle sticks with a passive opener, and I get a bit more aggressive. Following my burst, I predict a jump, but I'm a bit too early, and Jacko ends up finding the first solid opening. With so many minions set up, it's going to be tough for me to get anywhere near my opponent, and just as I see an opportunity, an air fireball stops me in my tracks. Turtle's hit-and-run playstyle in this round drove me to an animalistic offensive state, and they take advantage of my lack of defense to win game 1. In the next game, a round start shimmy gets me a grab, but I stop my meaty pressure early to set myself up for success later. Turtle then pushes me to the corner where I waste my burst, but luckily I don't get punished for it. Regardless, that rally means it's absolutely time for
Body strength!
because without perfect defense here, we might just die. But with our risk maxed out, we find a grab. And remember this from earlier? Well, they attempt to challenge it again, but get frame trapped. Unfortunate that I dropped that combo, but one more frame trap gives me the last opening I need to take the round. And I use the immediate super here so that Turtle doesn't get a chance to spend a burst. We both choose passive starts in the following round, and in true Barbarian King fashion, I make it a priority to kill Jacko's little goblins. So, with only a single goblin remaining, I stop Turtle's approach with a 6p and manage to get some offense started. And you know what? Both of these characters are super oppressive towards each other in the corner. That's one reason why I find this matchup to be so fun. Well, that, and I've never really had much of a hatred for zoners. I'd much rather fight a zoner than a gorilla. After all, with the range of his sword, Nago is pretty much a zoner himself. As Turtle sets up some more goblins, I try to weave my way through, knowing that one more opening could mean victory. But I should have had more patience, because with my back against the wall, I'm now forced to hold block against Jacko's minion-assisted pressure. After my YRC, I get a counter hit, but Turtle bursts. Luckily though, I read a risky grab, get one of my own, and win the game with an overhead. Heading into game 3, Turtle gets the first hit, but I end up getting the first solid conversion. With Jacko in the corner, I choose to pressure from a distance this time around. This way I can avoid getting interrupted by her 2K, and whiffing 5H won't get punished by an IAD cross-up. I spend YRC wanting to gain back the space I just lost, and once again I play it safe, pressuring just outside the range of Jacko's quick lows. But I make a fatal mistake. One Fukio too many leads to Blood Rage, and I lose the life lead I was working on for the past 40 seconds. From there, we enter into a bit of a scramble, and though I have enough meter to avoid dying to Chipp, those pesky air fireballs stop my approach and seal my fate. In round 2, I choose a more aggressive start, but Turtle sticks with a passive retreat. And their reaction to my unintentional cross-up is quick. I certainly wasn't expecting to get grabbed. I'm left in a bit of a daze in the corner, trying to challenge my way out, but getting counter-hit every time. Luckily, it seems like even Turtle is caught off guard by these counter-hits, as they do not convert, and after tightening up my defense, I'm able to escape the corner. My Rekka leads into a bite, and I jump, predicting Jacko will super, but it doesn't really pay off, now does it? I'm in a pretty rough spot here, but I build bursts in the nick of time, and I close the gap to get a bite on Turtle. With a couple more guesses, I seal the deal, but I don't just want the round, I want your burst too.
Now.
And just like that, we head into round 3 with a slight advantage. I remember back in 6th grade, I went to a science camp. There, I was put into a group of fellow brats and troublemakers, and our group leader asked us all what we'd like to be called. I said Turtle, and for some reason, all the other brats thought Turtle was my real name. Anyways,
pick a god and pray.
This is where getting that burst off the table last match really matters, as a +6 stab, super effective, sun boosted critical hit nets us a huge amount of damage, taking almost 70% of Jacko's health. Back in neutral, Turtle finds an opening. Even in level 3 blood though, their combo doesn't kill. I hold on to dear life until I'm finally able to escape the corner, but I really should have OS'd that bite. And Turtle wins game 3. Turtle and I have the same round start idea as we head into game 4, back up and then threaten with a projectile. But in practice, this plan suits Jacko better than it does Nago, as Turtle is immediately able to set up their zone and take control of the screen. After losing half my health, I do find a solid burst. However, my pressure lacks commitment and speed, so my opponent regains control of the match within a couple of seconds. They then catch my backdash, extend, and though I escape death once, a GameStop trade closes out the round. With my winner's life on the line, I finally get a decent round start, but I take a risk with 2H trying to catch an air dash. Since Turtle was patient, they're once again able to set up their zone early in the round. And unfortunately, I proceed to make a huge misplay. We both backdash, but Turtle had mine covered by a minion. And with that, Jacko activates her win condition.
Rally to me!
It's once again time to tighten up that defense, but something you'll notice for the remainder of this round is that I've gone a bit 2H happy. 2H poisoning, I believe they call that. And an unprofessional burst, I'll call that. It goes unpunished, but it does give Jacko the advantage. Eager to close out the set, Turtle mixes things up and rushes me down. My life doesn't end there, but I only manage to get in one last turn before Turtle achieves victory. Excellent games and excellent plays, Turtle. That was a great way to kick off the tournament, and I hope we put on a good show for the stream. When you see yourself like that, it's hard to believe that it all began with a whiffed 2H. One day, I'll hit that Twitter combo in a match, you tell yourself.
Nothing but a lie. You ignore the consequences. You let 2H control you.
2H, the real cost. Turtle delivered us from winners round 1 straight to losers round 1. This much is true. However, An early loss like that is nothing more than an opportunity for a hype loser's bracket run. Additionally, our next opponent is Party Time 346, a fellow Nago player, and I am a mirror man. Meaning, I prefer the mirror match above all others, besides maybe Gold Lewis. That said, I'd like to take some time to discuss something I experienced in Celestial the other day. I was playing against a soul main who will refer to using the pseudonym Moonset to respect their privacy. And I thought we were having a great time, but about 30 relatively even matches into our set, they decided they'd had enough and spoke their mind before leaving me alone at my dueling station. They were pretty enraged and told me how cool it was that I can simply mash with Nago and win. Of course, I, like every other Nago main, have never actually practiced this game or tried to get better, and I certainly don't have any experience against an uncommon character like Soul. Every time I play, I just sit on my controller and shake my butt abnormally fast. It's the ultimate strategy for getting free wins with Nago, after all. All jokes aside, though, from our interaction with Moonset, we can learn a couple of important lessons. The first thing we can take away is that it's better not to egg on an angry player unless you know them very well. If someone is so upset by the way you play that they decide to verbally lash out at you, it might seem fun to add fuel to the fire. But you have to keep in mind that when it comes to incredibly emotional players, your words hold more power over them than you might think. By saying the wrong thing to a disgruntled opponent, you could unintentionally cause them to break their controller or put a new hole in the drywall. This is a bit of an extreme example, and it's not super commonly seen in the Guilty Gear community, but if we look towards the Street Fighter or Smash Brothers scenes, there's definitely a few examples of the kind of violent outbursts I'm talking about. Okay, it might be funny, but I'm telling ya, it's not worth it to egg on that kind of player. They're unpredictable, and in person, a flight risk like that could end up hurting themselves, you, or an innocent spectator. And online, you never know who might be affected by your opponent's violence. It could end up scaring their mom, their dog, their roommate, etc. To avoid such an incident, when it comes to communicating with the angry one, I ask that you just say good games, offer positivity and encouragement, or say nothing at all. Obviously, that's just a suggestion, and your opponent's actions should never be blamed on your words alone. I'm just a huge fan of the phrase, kill 'em with kindness. Alright, so besides a pretty basic lesson in tournament or tower etiquette, we can also use our interaction with Moonset to learn about a fundamental mechanic in Strive. After they pointed out how I get all my wins through mashing alone, the Soul player also said something interesting about 6P. You see, not only was I mashing the classic Beyblades and DPs, but I was also mashing 6P. That move, which you input by holding forward and pressing your punch button, has upper body invincibility. It doesn't have the fastest startup out of any move in the game, but that invincibility makes it a great tool for anti-airing and a great tool for checking your opponent's pressure. Keep in mind that lows will still be able to hit you, so using 6P in this way is more effective against characters like Soul, who primarily use mids and jump-ins to open you up. So, Moonset. While my pressure might look like I'm just mashing, it's a little bit more calculated than that. If my pressure was fake and I was just randomly pressing buttons, I assure you that you'd be able to 6P through my offense the same way I 6P'd through yours.
They were fake?
Of course they were fake! This is what a real
Frame trap
looks like.
So with that out of the way, let's start talking a little less about Moonset and a little more about Party Time. Not only do I love the Ditto, but I can say Party Time is a skilled Nago player who's put a lot of time and effort into their character. Both those things make this set a fun one. I'm always on my toes, never knowing who will shift the momentum in their favor and take the round. But as I land a super, the momentum definitely belongs to me. And with one more interaction, I catch Party Time off guard with a tap dust to win the set and advance to the next round of the tournament. Good games, dog. Having advanced to Losers Round 2, it's now time for us to face Mimi, the Happy Chaos main. Going into this match, you should know that I've never actually beaten a Happy Chaos in tournament, but I think the matchup is a true 50-50 and could swing in either player's favor. As my first series of pressure comes to an end though, Mimi's able to switch our positions and it's now my turn to eat Happy Chaos pressure in the corner. Luckily I didn't get wall slumped, but thanks to great patience, Mimi's able to bait out my bursts and send me through the wall. Which honestly is best case scenario for me, as I'm able to win the neutral reset, just inches outside of gold burst range, and now I have Chaos back where I want him. This YRC here could have cost me the round, but I immediately use one of my own and win with a strange high-low mix. Next round start has got me feeling risky, and with a well-timed backdash, Mimi wins the first interaction, converting into a solid corner carry combo, which gets them wall break and sets up Curse in one fell swoop. Winning the reset with a clone, Chaos pops a little dragon dance and continues to steamroll through the second round. They were probably hoping for a slump here, but it's not needed anyways, as they cover my landing with a high and super me through the wall. It's not nearly enough to kill, but it does put me in a hard knockdown. I'm forced to block on wake up, and Mimi runs right up to kill me with a throw. In this matchup, you have to know that both characters can oppress each other just as hard. One round can be a nightmare induced by Chaos, while the next can be a bloodbath induced by Nago. Even when things look grim, remember that the next round could easily be yours. So, as we perform our weird neutral dance, I make it a priority to avoid getting touched by the curse ball by repeatedly jumping. And with the help of my Rekka, I'm able to bypass clone and finally take the advantage. As you can see, a single advantage state, even with unoptimal combos, put me well in the lead. From there, I keep my momentum alive, RCing at the last possible moment to avoid getting clipped by the burst, and securing the first game of the set. My momentum also carries into game 2 as I'm able to gain the first advantage and frame trap Mimi to force out an early burst. Though I get cursed, I'm able to take out a pesky clone, but with the Blicky, Chaos forces out a burst of his own. A second clone works well to defend the cornered Chaos, and Mimi punishes my jump in with a coast-to-coast combo. Preceding their American reset into a throw, Mimi baits out my YRC and closes the round with a wall stick into a super. A display of incredible execution, timing, and reads. In round 2, I feel a need to play faster and more aggressive, so that Mimi does not have a chance to set up clone. Eventually though, my aggression turns into greed, and Mimi punishes a whiffed bite that I really should have OS'd with a PRC to cover the backdash. Regardless, eating a wall break super is by no means the end of the world, as I still have plenty of resources to work with, including a life lead and a burst. My play definitely gets a bit animalistic as I do everything in my power to try to keep Chaos within my range, but they're eventually able to run away and gun me down from full screen. That's due to my high blood. Now, I'll only have one more chance to win the round, and I'll have to enter Blood Rage to do so. I've got a plan, and it works. The instant overhead converts into the round win. At the start of round 3, I land a bite, but Mimi cleverly bursts out of my pressure, so I can't set up my win condition too early. I spend my burst as well to push Chaos to the corner, and reading the throw, I tech out of their next block string. Mimi's movement and clone usage is really admirable here, but as their bullets run out, their pressure fizzles away, and their grab whiffs, I'm finally able to get another solid advantage state. And God bless that red RC for allowing me to secure the game even after a bit of sloppiness. With my 2-0 advantage, I'm feeling more confident in this matchup than I ever have, but I also know that the tides could shift at any moment. And finding myself in the corner so early, this round is not off to a great start. After spending burst, I'm pushed back into the corner, where Mimi spends their own burst to keep me pinned down. So, after Chaos secures the wall stick, launching me through to gain positive bonus, it's obvious that, as I mentioned earlier, the tides of battle have changed. While Mimi has made some much needed adjustments, I am still left clinging to the same game plan, a phenomenon commonly referred to as tunnel vision. Since I achieved victory with the same strategy in games 1 and 2, I'm assuming that it will remain to be effective in game 3. But Mimi's caught on to my defensive habits. They're starting to punish my backdash, and they've modified their corner pressure so that their frame traps have a higher success rate. Unlike the success rate of my blue RC attempt, it comes out as a yellow, and Chaos punishes to get a point on the board. That brings us to game 4, where I foolishly choose a round start mix-up that I've already exhausted in this set. And that's it. It proves to me that Mimi is a player capable of learning and adapting on the fly. They're getting a ton of mileage off of their patience and movement, and using a jump in to punish my 5H, they get a side switch and a block string that almost pushes me all the way to the wall. However, in level 3 Blood, I'm fast enough to take out the Chaos clone and get some offense of my own started. I definitely could have killed here if I had just used a special, but Mimi takes advantage of my split second of hesitation and escapes the corner. Chaos is absolutely one tap, but I get greedy and he finalizes the comeback with a super. This next round start is a great example of tunnel vision, as I go for the same option a third time and lose another early burst for it. As I get back in, I'm wary of hitting clone, but Mimi catches my backdash, and crossing me up, they tack on a bit more damage. But since Chaos's curse runs out, I'm fine making some risky plays here to even up the health bars. The full Rekka on block into a red RC is gonna give me some blood back, but not before I get opened up again, and Mimi converts into a full corner carry combo that ends with a super. I pray that I live this, and I do, but this isn't a neutral reset, and a simple low ties up the score 2-2. The final game of this hard-fought set commences with a trade. And though I'm able to avoid the curse ball, it's still Mimi that takes the first advantage and my burst. After which, I'm immediately put back on the defensive, and it's a defense that's not quite strong enough to withstand the pressure of Chaos. So keeping me trapped in the corner with a clone, Mimi converts an anti-air into a wall break combo and nets themselves positive bonus. As neutral resets, I BRC thinking they would press a button, but I was wrong, as much like your ex, all they want is space. Which makes sense, as I'm almost maxed out on blood, and for now, all I can do is block. But suddenly, they catch me off guard with a complete shift in style, and rush me down to win the round. Now, I'm on my tournament life, meaning a couple more mistakes won't just cost me the set, it'll eliminate me from Aegis altogether. This is life or death, and honestly, right now, it's looking more like just death. With the red RC, I'm already below half, and time again, Mimi is opting for the reset instead of a wall break to keep me trapped in the corner. The silver lining is, I got rid of their burst last round, and they're currently spending a lot of health to create clones. But as they finally decide to send me through the wall, it's time for me to make up my mind. That is, do I have what it takes to achieve my first tournament win against Happy Chaos? Is it still possible to clutch this round? That much is uncertain, but the moment I hit this super, I've already decided what I will be gambling my win upon. And one very evil setup later, we find ourselves in a final game final round situation. For now, I've managed to escape death, but that doesn't mean Mimi's just gonna hand over the win. After a clone trade and a regular trade, Chaos sets up a curse, putting me in a very sticky position. Given what happened last match, I could very well get stuck in a reset loop, but at least this time I'll build Burst to hopefully pay my bail. Or so I thought, as Mimi hits me with a super to restore their bullets and continue their advantage on the other side of the wall. I've got blood to spend, but I don't have enough blood to take the round in a single interaction. And dropping my combo definitely doesn't do me any favors. At least my gold burst goes unpunished, but things are about to take a turn for the worst. You see, I've spent too much blood, and... never mind! With Blood Rage activated, there's no escaping my range this time. And my spin puts me in the perfect position to anti-air Mimi, getting me the last opening I needed to win the round, the game, and the set. I am just as impressed with Mimi's skill as I am with the new Zelda game. Saying good games would not even come close to serving this match justice. Mimi, you have my full respect, and if this was an in-person tournament, I would give you the most gentlemanly handshake a guy could muster. Before we play our next round, let's take a short break. That was exhausting, and it's time to talk about the new Minecraft Dream and Mr. Beast Benjamin drama. Nah, I'm just playing. That would be hella messed up if I just included some random nonsense like that. No, what I would really like to say is that the Strive servers are saved, or so it seems at least. You see, not only are online tournaments making a comeback, Arc System Works themselves has announced a server fix that will be released alongside the new character. Aside from that, the only other cause for concern is the potential continued dealings of Hackerman. However, Hackerman typically only targets high-profile Strive players like Low-Tier God and Theo Von.
I'll pick a snail up and walk 3 or 4 feet, save him 5 days of travel.
So, knock on wood, but I don't think we'll have too much to worry about as far as our tournament runs go. In Losers Round 3, our opponent is JTG's Honored Ogre, a talented and legendary Chipp main. So here's a bit of a disclaimer, this tournament was stacked, and this might very well be the toughest opponent you've seen me fight so far. As Ogre puts on the pressure, I spend my burst, but it doesn't get me any mileage, and Chipp finds another opening with their next Rekka, converting it into a high damage wall run, wall break combo. On the reset, Ogre outspeeds with Far Slash, following it up to get the kill. In the next round, I do win the opening exchange, but I read a DP, and Ogre backdashes instead. While the initial punish wasn't too bad, the space I lose is detrimental, as they push me to the corner and present me with a ticket to the mix train. So, call me a Wii U gamepad, because much like I did to mine, Ogre puts me in a blender. And after reading my burst, they close out the first game in just under a minute. The next game starts a lot better for me, as winning round start takes half of Ogre's health, and one more opening on the reset brings them extremely close to death. Unfortunately, for now my offense stops there, and Ogre's making Chipp look like Milia with all these right-left mix-ups. It's very remarkable how they guess correctly 7 times in a row, but for now, I'm not gonna die a death to 1,000 paper cuts. In round 2, I once again managed to secure an early lead, but with a well-timed backdash, Ogre shifts the momentum completely in their favor. And though this time my defense is not non-existent, it's still not good enough to prevent Chipp from carrying me to the corner and sending me through the wall. As I impact back into neutral, I use a BRC to take the advantage, but with a very worthwhile risk, Ogre converts to take the round. Round 3 starts with Ogre punishing my spin, but I burst them into the corner, where I catch their backdash. Then I attempt a safe jump, hoping they'll DP, but they don't, and a trade launches them out of the corner. They anti-air me and secure the advantage. This time, I do see their cross-up coming, but they backdash to dodge my bites and keep their momentum. Since I'm not too high on blood, I don't take too much damage from their punish, and in the corner, I interrupt their clone to escape. That's when I find my game-winning read. But I drop my combo, and Ogre finds a couple more cross-ups to take Game 2. Heading into this dire Game 3 situation, the most important thing is that I keep trying my best and make adjustments to my game plan. In regards to improving my performance in future tournaments, that holds much more significance than winning or losing. I'm trying to get to a point where I'm confident enough to play close to my 100% in tournament. Doing so is tough, and it's something that only comes with experience. So, a match against a high caliber player like Ogre is some of the best experience you can get. And that's my favorite part of competing. It's not really about the win or the end goal. For me, it's just about playing and testing my skills and practice against others. In round 2, Ogre wins round start, immediately threatening my tournament life. We both say, "Get off me," and for some reason, I hold forward and throw. I don't extend my advantage though, so instead it goes back to Chipp. And once again, Ogre starts up that Milia-style blender, consistently hitting my blind spot on defense. But lucky me, just as I'm about to die, it seems like they misinput a DP. But on second thought, maybe it was an intentional cross-up. Good games, Honored Ogre. Your Chipp is honestly insane. And this set also demonstrates the golden rule that we've seen before. Thou who deals the 3-0th shall be dealt the 3-0th in return. With that loss, our Aegis tournament run comes to an end, and we're out at a respectable 17th place. On the flip side, congratulations to one true Snorlax, a fellow Nago main and one of the best. Nice job on that first place finish. And to you, the viewer, I hope you enjoyed the show. And if you've made it all the way here, please subscribe. It would make me so very happy. Also, we just hit 300 subs. Thank you guys so much. That is massive. And finally, to any Burger King prize pool deniers out there, I will prove you wrong.